is going on? Okay, I guess I gotta stop this. I don't know. Huh. What are they doing? Okay. Um, I guess I'm live. Hi, welcome. Sorry about that. My phone did something it never did before, and I don't know if it's me or something new on Facebook, but anyways, welcome. My name is Susan Maud Buxer-Lahaki. I am a candidate for the 2024 presidential election. I have not conceded my candidacy because the election was fraudulent and there's a lot of manipulation and fraud in the system. And Donald Trump was saying that too back in 2020, but suddenly now that he's in office, we're not hearing that anymore. And nothing has changed with the election process in the United States. So something's wrong. And I hope the Supreme Court will act on my lawsuit soon. For whatever reason, my Facebook events calendar chose to say that this town hall and campaign update would happen at 9:30, not at 3:30. So since I couldn't change it, I decided I would go ahead and host my event now. And I have some things coming up this afternoon anyway, so it makes it easier for me. But anyways, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, so campaign-wise, my RV is broken down, and so I won't be traveling around anymore in that. And I need to get a little bit of my life together because I got papers everywhere, and it's a bit of a mess because I was nonstop go, getting the information out to you, the people, as quickly as possible. So I have a lot of cleanup to do. It's time to clean up and clean house. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on right now. And I'm actually looking for really specific papers, which I'm not finding. So I'm a bit annoyed at that, but I'm sure they will show up eventually. Just when, I don't know. But anyways, they're somewhere. So yeah, but that's life on the road. And then I'm also I have my studio in Switzerland, so traveling around. They could be many places. And with my RV incident earlier, like 2 months ago, and then the car accident I was in, yeah, I need to take some time and look for some stuff. So that's going to be this week, and cleaning things and stuff because I put off the cleaning for a long time. So it's important to do some of that too. So that's, yeah, part of it. But that doesn't stop me from, keeping track of what's going on. And I think probably the Jeffrey Epstein drama is playing out between Trump and Elon Musk. And then I think we're probably going to hear something soon about that too. I'm not sure what. I have my ideas. I'm sure you have your ideas. But yeah, that's, something's going on between those two, and it has to do with this this case, these children. So let's see what's going to happen. Then yeah, the Supreme Court's been busy again making rulings. So, I really call on them to make a ruling on my lawsuit, because it's an important one. And you and I both know that there's a lot of fraud in the system. So we definitely need to clean house. in Washington also. You know, Trump calls it draining the swamp. I call it cleaning house. And we may as well just, you know, put it all together and come up with a new constitution that's more easily understandable, that's brought up to date into, you know, modern language, and yeah, so that everybody can understand it. So I see that there are a gathering of some intelligent people around, so maybe we can get the job done. But yeah, it takes cooperation, teamwork. But we can do it. And as we heard, you know, with this big, beautiful bill or whatever it is, a lot of the people in Congress aren't even reading it, and they're just passing it because they're Republican or something like that. So it's time to hold our representatives accountable. They need to represent us and not just the Republicans or not just the Democrats, but the actual people. Because, you know, some of us are not Democrats and Republicans, and we don't want their platform. Some of us are many other things, Green Party, Libertarian, or, you know, Freedom Party, or whatever. So, yeah, it's a sad day when our representatives don't do their job that they're supposed to do, that we send them to Washington to do. And I mean, this is also going on in your own state with your legislatures. They're also not all doing their homework, and you're paying their salaries. They owe you that to do the job that they were hired to do. So shame on them for not doing that. Now, I'm just, yeah, the bans on different groups coming into the country, different people from countries, different countries. I think that, you know, there might be a reason behind that we're unaware of. So I can't say if that's good or bad. You know that I want to actually increase the amount of how legal people can come in to the country. Because right now we only allow about 1 million a year, and that's from all the countries, you know. That should be from like Mexico alone. And that should be from Egypt alone, and many other countries. So I think we need to reevaluate our international policies. And I think, you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. And it's one step at a time. And I know a lot of people are scared by what they see and hear from Washington and Donald Trump. But you have to not take things really one item at a time, because it's like a, you know, to get to from point A to point B, you might have to take a right and a left turn, and you might have to go over a bridge or under a bridge. And so, you know, this is what we're seeing. And so there is a direction, I think, but it's not a straight line. And I think a lot of people are panicking when they don't have to. So I think, but we do want to keep vigilant and keep our eyes on what is going on with him and with Washington, because, you know, as we've seen, they can do a lot of things behind the scenes. And this is the other thing. Our government needs to be more transparent, and that's what it's not doing. Yeah, so what else is going on? I'm looking through Google News right now, trying to see if there's anything. It could also be that, you know, Trump and Elon Musk, they're very much they like to be the center of attention. So this could be also a way of them to stay in the center of attention, distract the media, and so on. So I think, but let's see what's going to happen, because there are still some issues out there that are not being discussed or finalized yet. Uh, yeah. So there's not too much going on here. Yeah. So I guess, it's sort of little things in the news right now. So the main thing is, we don't have to live with war and hate and killing. We really don't. There are other alternatives. And all these wars and aggressions usually end in a conversation, negotiation, anyways. So I call for all wars to stop. I call for a ceasefire. Everybody should put their guns down and sit down to the negotiating table and figure out a way forward. So I don't know if you know this, but in my lifetime, this organization called the EU, European Union, became a thing. And I actually was living there when it was happening, not the entire time, but for a lot of it. And, it's been interesting to watch the evolution of what's going on. Now, I don't know if everyone in the union is really happy, if all the countries are happy there. But I think the concept, it was needed to an extent, certainly for currency wise. It makes sense because people are just traveling and you can't run around with 10 wallets with 10 different currencies. So that makes sense to have one currency. And that's a little bit, I think they should look to the US with the concept of a smaller federal government. So I think the European Union has gotten too bureaucratic. There's just too much overlay and extra people, and they need to shave off some of their excess, because they don't need as much as they have. And they might have needed it at the beginning, but now they don't. But the one reason why I'm talking about negotiating and also like different possibilities between countries of relationships is, Switzerland decided not to join the European Union. They gave the vote to the people, and the people voted against it. And so they're sort of an island in the middle of this thing called the European Union. It's like the European Union is sort of like a donut. It's circular with Switzerland in the middle. And it seems to still be working like that, but there was a lot of negotiation that went on between Switzerland and the European Union to come to a reasonable way of dealing with each other. So Switzerland did keep its own currency, and they have something called shingin in place, which allows people from Switzerland and also allows people from the EU countries to switch places and work in either countries. So, people from France can work in Switzerland, and people from Switzerland can work in France, and it's okay. There's not a big issue with that. And it goes for all the European Union countries. Now, where Europe ends and Asia begins, I'm not really sure how that crosses over and where the real mix is. But Europe has still a lot of monarchies, and so I think they look to that for countries, but not always, also because some countries don't have monarchies anymore. England is not in the European Union. It's its own separate country like Switzerland, and they also have their own agreement with the European Union and working and traveling back and forth and whatnot. But I mention this because when Switzerland had that choice, there were a lot of people who really did not want to get involved, and they were quite, really, aggressive is the wrong word, but sort of like that, just strong about their opinion. And it seems to have worked, but so there's technically not a huge difference between Switzerland and, say, Germany, because Germany is part of the European Union, as far as exchanging with other countries different things. But there are subtle differences that make the relationship work anyways. And at the time of the forming of the European Union, several states were struggling, and it seemed like a good idea to really unite Europe for once in a peaceful way. And that's what it did. And so, technically Europe should not be having any more wars, but now we had NATO moving into the Ukraine, and Russia didn't like it. And for whatever has happened after that, it's there are treaties, and sometimes they need to be renegotiated, like a constitution needs to be renegotiated. Treaties also sometimes need that too. So I'm not sure what's going to happen between Russia and the Ukraine, but I'm sure that there is a solution. And I'm not quite sure what that solution is, but you can't do it if you're still fighting. So I think it's really time to stop the fighting and get together and come to a conclusion that will make everybody happy. Perhaps NATO stays out of Ukraine, or I don't know. I haven't been following it that much because I've been more into U.S. politics, but I don't know. There is a solution there. And then as far as Israel goes and Palestine, it's hard to imagine what the Palestinians are going through. And, ever since I've been alive, this has been going on. And, there was once peace in that region. And I don't know how the UN got so powerful in such a short period of time. In 2 years, they were able to rewrite the boundaries of a country and form a country. And I don't know who really gave them that power, but I'm fearful that there's not going to be many Palestinians left if things keep going the way that they're going. So this is not really acceptable in what I understand is going on over there. But it's hard to know what's going on because I'm here and they're there, and who knows what the media is really telling us, you know? So I think, again, any country that is in warring at this point is not really civilized, and they need to think about it. You know, it's all wars end in negotiation anyway. So just stop it. Stop with the loss of life and stop with the genocide and get together and carve out a solution. There is a Palestinian state. The problem is lots of countries, especially the US, is not recognizing it. So, you know, yeah, it's just mind-boggling that this is going on and that this went on and that people allowed this to happen. So, you know, it's just not acceptable. We all have to live on the planet together. And there are solutions for peace. We don't have to live this way. And shame on Israel for doing what they're doing. They just want beachfront property, and this is unacceptable. So, I call on all the wars to stop. I call on all the people who are supposedly in power in those countries to sit down to the negotiating table and negotiate a real peace. And hopefully we can put an end to war, and it'll be a thing of the past. And people will start nurturing each other and helping each other grow. And we can really sit down and discuss how we want humanity to go forward. Rather than having a couple of entrepreneurs do it, we, the people, should be making those decisions. So, this is where I am with the whole peace process. Let's sit down together and let's negotiate where we want humanity going, because that's what it's really about. We're at a crossroads right now. We got technology moving fast forward, and although it's great, it's also, we're not prepared. So we have to ask ourselves, is this the direction we want to go? Okay, so I don't know what else I can say at this point. Yeah. I don't know. I think we need to take care of our people in each country. Each country needs to take care of its people and help them to grow and become better themselves. And we need to slow down technology. I mean, it's great what we've achieved in such a short time, but is it necessary? Now, I don't know, maybe there is something coming to the Earth that could destroy it, so maybe we do have to get off the planet soon. I don't know. But I'm not president, so I don't have that information. But maybe one day I'll get that information, and then we can decide together the best course of action. It could be that we all need to try to get to Mars as soon as possible. But I'm going to say at this moment, I don't have any proof that anything's coming or happening, so I don't feel the need to go to Mars at this moment. Not that I have anything against Mars or space travel. I think it's a great idea. But until we learn how to live together in peace, we are not ready to go to the stars. So that is my town hall campaign update for today. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Susan Maud Buxer-Lahaki, and my website is susan4usa.com. That's Susan, the number 4, usa.com. and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.